September 8th. It's the day that thousands of Ohioans with almost 24 different medical conditions, from cancer, PTSD, or epilepsy, will be able to get medical marijuana. Or will they?
To go to a dispensary, you're going to need a recommendation from a doctor. And as anchor Kristen Hartman learned, physicians have some fears of getting involved.
Yeah, guys, the thought that doctors might be reluctant to recommend perhaps slowing a process brings this mom to tears. Her son, her heart, is living with epilepsy, and the loving mother is frustrated. The system she believes could benefit her family and others is off to what some have called a sluggish start.
This is one of, when a little baby picture.
A proud mama shares a lifetime of pictures of her boy, but the smiles don't tell his whole story. Willie Plott has epilepsy.
Yeah, it is emotional. Willie is a funny guy, and he's very playful, and I hate to see him knocked down low.
Doctors diagnosed him when he was just 6 months old. 27 now, he wears a helmet and has had as many as 35 seizures a day. Seizures that can knock him off his feet.
This is the study medicine.
So Cass and her husband Glenn have done everything they can for Willie, including getting him into a clinical trial testing CBD. That's a cannabis compound extracted from the marijuana plant.
It should not provide any kind of psychoactive effect.
Just a therapeutic one. For the Plotts, the CBD oil has been nothing short of lightning in a bottle. They say, taken with other drugs, they've seen a huge decrease in Willie's seizures.
He has gained a new cognitive level. So he's starting to notice things for the first time. He's starting to look around him. He's starting to actually look at us.
And what does that mean to you as dad?
It's very exciting.
And it's possible right now because of that trial at UC.
Then we can study the seizures.
Dr. Michael Privatera, who cares for patients with epilepsy, had to get a special license to run the study because the source of the CBD oil, marijuana, is a Schedule I drug. By DEA definition, that means it has no accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. Which leads us to this big safe in a tiny room.
You weren't lying when you said this is a small space. I can touch both walls. So why this space in particular for your safe where you keep your oil?
The DEA told us that we had to have the cannabidiol stored at the same place where my license is. That's this building. This was the only space that we could find.
He says if they had stored it somewhere else,
we would have had to have a armed guard escort either myself or my study coordinator every time we needed to move the product, the CBD, from one place to another.
And that is the federal climate, even as state law allows marijuana for medical use in Ohio. Dr. Privatera says 3 separate studies show CBD oil can help epilepsy patients like Willie.
And it really does work.
But he will not pursue recommending it at the state level because it could jeopardize his federal research license. And he says for other ailments, marijuana doesn't have the same proven track record.
I think there's a stigma associated with the word marijuana. And I think doctors are concerned they're going to create a dark shadow over their practice.
Dr. Laurel Matthews in Cleveland went to med school at the University of Cincinnati. She took the required 2 hours of coursework necessary for state certification to recommend marijuana to patients. She is even taking an additional 13 hours, but
there's just a generalized fear in the provider community about stepping into this arena. Although I'm cautiously optimistic that once it gets going, others will follow.
2 of 3 approved Ohio vendors who offer the education tell us that is what's happened in other states. But they say right now, few physicians are signing up for the course here. Extra Step Assurance says it's educated 137 doctors so far, just 7 in the Cincinnati area, and there are thousands of physicians in the state.
It's a concern. It's a huge concern.
Is there going to be any viability for it here for patients?
It's going to be a struggle, and a few doctors are going to see a lot of patients. Even if you don't want to recommend, you think I'm against it, you need to be able to talk to your patients.
The Plotts hope more physicians act so patients like their son have options.
This isn't about getting high. It's about medicine that is helpful.
Course vendors told me even if federal studies are fewer, their education covers peer-reviewed articles that show how marijuana can help patients. In other states, numbers of physicians getting the marijuana education typically increase the closer the state gets the programs going operational. But there have been press reports about physician numbers still being low.
All right, so then what does the state medical board say about this minuscule amount of doctors who've taken the course so far?
Well, right now they tell me they are not worried. In one woman's words, one spokesperson's words, it's early. She says they won't even begin taking applications from doctors until late spring. So we will revisit the story then. And if you want to learn how hospital systems in Ohio are guiding their physicians on this matter, all you have to do is go to the article on WCPO.com.